Well, amazing. From up here, it is, the room is packed. I just want to say that. This is a different view up here. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chris. I'm with AbaData, and welcome. Welcome to our first ever AbaData User Conference 2025, the future of energy operations. We are thrilled to have you, the members of our community, to join us here at the Calgary TELUS Convention Center. We've got a full day of keynotes, breakout sessions, networking, and more. We would not be where we are today without you, so thank you. We also want to recognize leading on Treaty 7 territory, and within the Métis Nation homeland. We are grateful to work here. So before we dive in, just a few logistics. I am the bathroom and the phone guy. Coffee, refreshments, and lunch and networking spaces are available throughout the day in the main foyer area outside these doors. Washrooms, if you haven't found them yet, are just outside the main doors and then to the left. Emergency exits out to the left again and then right up onto Stephen Avenue Mall. Our breakout sessions will be held in rooms E1, 2, and 3, and those are, say it with me, out the doors to the right and then to the left, and you'll see down the stairs, there'll be signage and AbaData staff there to help guide you if you are lost. Now, very important here, if you see anyone with a dark mode or a black lanyard, these are AbaData staff members. Please feel free to introduce yourselves, and if you have any questions, they will be more than happy to answer them. You should have received a copy of the schedule when you first checked in. If not, extras are available at that registration table when you entered, and you'll find full descriptions of all 3 breakout sessions in your schedule. Feel free to choose the ones that best suit your interests. Also, be sure to visit the booths in the main foyer. Our AbaData Help Desk is there for any questions, and we've got several sponsor booths that you do not want to miss. Speaking of sponsors, a huge thank you, a big shout out to Altilis, our premier sponsor for the event, as well as all of our other supporting sponsors who helped make today possible. All right. Now, let's get things off here. First, I would like to introduce our CEO, Jason Toews, who has been leading AbaData through its incredible growth over the past 3 years. For some opening remarks. Just do a quick little bio here for Jason. Jason is a farmer. Jason is an experienced technology executive, and Jason is a successful entrepreneur. Before leading AbaData, Jason was best known as the co-founder and former CEO of Gasway, the groundbreaking mobile app and data platform that changed how hundreds of millions of people find and share real-time gas prices. Perhaps you are one of those users. And what started as a grassroots tech idea became one of the most recognized consumer energy brands in North America. Today, Jason is once again at the forefront of innovation, this time focusing on the digital transformation of the energy industry. He is passionate about building technology and helping companies embrace data-driven decisions to improve efficiency, safety, sustainability, and of course, save costs, just like Gasway. Jason's journey from startup founder to tech industry leader reflects the vision and determination that continues to shape Canada's energy technology landscape. Please join me in welcoming Jason Toews, CEO of AbaData. Thanks, Chris.
All right, good morning. Welcome to the first conference 2025. First event, hopefully. So when we were planning this event, we wanted to create a collaborative space where people can come together, share ideas, learn from each other, but also importantly, see how software, data and AI are going to change the industry. I want to show you what you can use right now, but we also want you to see how those capabilities are going to extend into field operations, integrity, and tracking equipment in the field. Our vision is one platform, one login. So Curtis Parker is our founder, and he, back in 2003, almost 25. Check. Almost 25 years ago, Curtis had the idea for AbaData. So back then, there were not really many great options for getting information on pipelines, wells, facilities, that kind of thing. Lots of people would resort to paper maps, county maps, that kind of thing. And Curtis had the idea for AbaData, which is an interactive mapping solution where people could get that information on a digital platform, fully interactive. And this was actually 2 years before Google Maps came out. So he's really a trailblazer in that space. So I joined the AbaData a little more than 3 years ago, and it was after I left Gas Buddy. So I joined a team of 6 people that were based out of Red Deer at the time, and I partnered with AbaData and Curtis to make the next iteration of AbaData, just what AbaData is going to be moving forward. And so when I joined, we did a few things. AbaData 3.0, and you guys hear me okay here? It seems like it's pointing in and out a little bit. We launched AbaData 3.0, and we also got the maps when I joined. It took about 30 seconds for AbaData maps to load up. That's almost long enough to get a coffee. So we got that down to about 4 seconds, and quite a bit faster, and we're going to try to shave more off that as well. So performance is very important for us with AbaData. We've also grown the team from 6 people up to 55 people. And so we actually have one of the largest development teams, software development teams in Western Canada, energy software. And so AbaData, we have around 30,000 unique users that use the platform. Does this work better? Just turn this off, please. So we have around 30,000 users who use AbaData maps. And so when I was preparing for this session, I was curious to see how much usage we actually get with AbaData maps. And so I looked up, we actually have around 128,000 hours of usage every month with AbaData. Okay. Check. Check. Test. Okay. Does that work? Clear. Microphone audio issues, that's perfect. So it's 128,000 hours of usage every month. It works out to about 16,000 8-hour workdays in every month. So it's quite an amazing statistic. Right now we're only in Western Canada, so it's pretty impressive. And so when we look at the future of energy software, we look at things in 4 different buckets, 4 different categories. We organize around 4 different jobs of mapping and analyzing data, capturing data in the field, assessing pipeline risk, and also tracking equipment. One of the biggest things we're working on in the future is going to be scheduling work and managing service requests end-to-end inside the AbaData system. But it really amazes me when I didn't really expect this when joining the industry, but how many companies still use paper and spreadsheets to manage and track their field operations. It boggles my that such big, even like the biggest companies you find will be using that in the field. And if you get audited, boy, good luck with that one. That's going to be a treasure hunt. With AbaData, one of the most important things for us is reliability. And that really means, to us, it means two different things. It means that the software has to be up to date and it has to be accurate. But it also means that the software has to work too, whether it's online or offline. So with maps, it means it's got to be fast, and the data's got to be current. And with the apps, it's got to work if you're in northern Saskatchewan, Alberta. It's got to work even if you don't have cell signal. And that data all flows back into AbaData, where you can look at it and slice and dice it on a map. And so today, there's a few sessions you're going to want to watch out for. One of the cool features we're releasing is a text to report. And this is a feature inside AbaData where you'll be able to type in an English sentence, ask for some kind of data, and it will spit out, do all the filters and create a preview and also export data, all in plain English. So that's going to be in one of our AI sessions this afternoon. You might want to check that out. We also have some sessions on beyond basics. There's actually two of these today. But it's kind of amazing to me. Even yesterday, I found out about a layer that I didn't know that we had inside AbaData. There's hundreds of layers inside AbaData, lots of nooks and crannies. And hopefully in these sessions, you'll be able to find some tips and tricks that maybe you didn't know that would make your job a little easier. And also one of the gaps that we've had with AbaData is been with BC pipelines. And for many years, the regulator didn't make, especially older pipelines, available as a data source. So we actually historically have not had great BC pipelines. And so I'm happy to announce that we've actually solved that. And we've done it through machine learning and our AI. We'll actually show you how we did it in one of the sessions this afternoon. So we're actually going to have one of the best sources of BC pipeline routes and paths available anywhere. And so for our mobile apps, of course, you're going to be able to log in, you can today, log inspections, photos, get GPS stamps, it all works completely offline. The great thing, it syncs back to the servers perfectly. But this is going to be a big part of our strategy moving forward with our service requests software that we're adding to the platform. And also earlier this year, we acquired a company called Kudu, which is a pipeline integrity product. And we're going to be merging Kudu's models and workflows into Triage, which is our integrity AI engine. And so with this, we'll deliver explainable risk scores, cathodic protection, geohazards, incident proximity. It's going to take a look at, or it currently does, looks at other incidents that happen nearby with similar pipelines, and it's going to call the top drivers out. And our aim is simple with that, is to provide the best pipeline integrity product in the market. And so as Chris mentioned, we have sessions in E, 1, 2, and 3. We have some great sessions on the maps, field operations. AR is going to do a great session, and don't miss our AI sessions this afternoon as well. So at lunch, we have Mike Hansen and Dave Warren. They're going to be telling us their amazing story with their 10 and 10 and 10. If you don't know about this, this is where they did 10 marathons in 10 provinces in 10 different days. And so 100% of today's ticket proceeds are going to go to Kids Sport Calgary, Big Brothers and Sisters of Calgary and area, and AAFS Calgary. So thanks for supporting these programs that matter. And so we're going to have some more sessions and the AbaData roadmap. This is where we're going to talk about some of the upcoming things coming out of that. It's going to be at 2:45, don't miss that. And also too, we have an AI digitization panel at 3:15. And so this is where Doug Schweitzer is going to be moderating this session. Doug is the co-founder and CEO of Baltimore. And on the panel, we're going to have Gary Gershell, Director of Operations at Baker Hughes, Simone Rivard, he's the VP of Production at Ember, and Rowan, the founder, Curtis, is going to be joining the panel as well. And so let's kick this thing off here. So our keynote speaker today is Mark Little. And so Mark is the founder and CEO of Jotson, which is a technology platform that empowers Canadians to better manage their household energy costs and consumption. So Mark brings over 35 years of experience in the industry, including over 2 decades at Imperial Oil and Exxon. And more recently, he served as the CEO and president of Suncor between 2019 and 2022. And he has lots of experience in the industry, in the North Sea to Wood Buffalo, Latin America, and North Africa. So he currently serves on the board of General Fusion, advises the Coalition for a Better Future, and he also received the 2024 CCIB Award for Excellence in Aboriginal Relations. So his talk today will set the stage for conversations and sessions that follow, highlighting some of the industry, how our industry is evolving and what where innovations will take us next. And so he's offered to turn his keynote into a collaborative discussion, and they're speaking for about 15 minutes, and then we'll be opening up for questions. We'll have Chris and Amit on the mics, standing by for any questions. Just put up your hand if you have a question, and they'll come by with the mic. But please join me and welcome to the stage, Mark Little.
Okay, well, I actually have some notes, otherwise we'll probably be here 4 hours. But I was excited about the opportunity to come today, and I thought I would provide a little bit of context about why I think my perspective might be a little unique. Because I was born and raised in Calgary, my degree is in computer science. I actually went to work in the industry with Imperial. I kind of got lost in technology and different business departments and ended up in the business side of the industry. I have loved being in the industry, but now that I've left my role, which is about 3 years ago, I've started investing in technology companies almost exclusively in areas like in energy and climate. Although I ended up investing in the wild, I figured the women's soccer team in Calgary, we just had to have one. So there's a few broader context to some of the investments that I've done. But, and then I decided I would start my own tech company, and quite a distance from what I have been working on. The number of calls I've got about going and working on tailings, I kind of think, hey, I think there's probably 20,000 people that can help. This is not a unique opportunity for me, so I started my own tech company. But because of that, I've had a chance to see the industry from a number of different vantage points. And I thought I would start this morning just by providing some context about the industry in which we find ourselves. I find it really interesting that energy demand since 1900 has gone up 14 times. 14 times. Energy demand is exploding, and trust me, it is not slowing down. Now we're on the verge of AI and computational, all sorts of computational tools, infiltration of technology, and quite frankly, the people that don't have technology are getting left behind. This is not going to change. Technology continues to move forward, and the things that have happened since that time, since 1900, the world's population has increased about 5-fold. We've gone from 1.7 billion to, call it 8.3 billion today. The population is going to continue to grow. Will it cap out at 9 billion or 10 billion? I think we're somewhere in that ballpark. Elon launched going to Mars, when he thought it was going to be 12 or 13 billion. Now he's upset that people aren't having more kids. I'm not sure that investment's going to work out for him, but who knows? He's done some amazing things. But during that same period of time, do you know that if you went back to 1900, 60% of the world's population was living in what we would define as extreme poverty? Standard of living was low. Think about our ancestors. Our ancestors were crazy enough to hop on horses, ride out here, camp through the summer thinking, wow, this is kind of beautiful, and then get smoked when it's 40 below in the middle of winter. And I can't figure out why, if they survived that, they didn't head on to the Okanagan or something, but they stayed. And this is the ancestry of this area, and so we have an entrepreneurial spirit. And then the Industrial Revolution, technology, machines, and digital technology today are driving massive increases in energy. So we've gone up 14-fold and population's gone up 5. I think we will see another, 5-fold or 3x increase to population in the coming decades, if not more. AI is just incredible, the energy that it consumes. And so because of that, we've lifted a huge number of people out of poverty. Like we now are sitting at about 10% of the world's population impoverished, and that has been on a rapid decline. In fact, we wouldn't even be at 10% if it wasn't for COVID. This was a bit of a setback for many of the people in the world. And then, how did Canada end up in this? We've ended up being the 4th largest producer of petroleum products to the globe. Now, in the scope of it, what are we? 42 million people in the country on a population of 8.3 billion. And we're a pretty big player. We're about 5-6% of the world's petroleum resources. That makes up 80% of the world's energy is petroleum-based, and honestly, that has changed. Renewable energy is making an impact, but in my entire lifetime, petroleum energy has made up over 80% of the world's energy. The thing that blows my mind is everybody talks about, if you listen to the way it's presented in the media, it's often talked about, renewable energy is increasing at a ferocious pace, and we're seeing the dawn of time for hydrocarbon energy. Even coal energy is at the highest demand in the history of the world today. That's the thing that's crazy about it, is that, okay, maybe some of the percentages are declining, but all of the energy sources, energy demand continues to increase. It outpaces our ability to keep up. And as a result of that, you're seeing petroleum demand pushing through 100 million barrels a day, coal demand, natural gas, nuclear, and renewables. I've been a big believer in we need it all strategy for some period of time. And one of the things that I've done since I left Suncor is I went to Ghana to try and understand extreme poverty. I literally have, I've seen on TV, I've never actually gone to a village where people literally have no money. There's no commerce at all. They walk for miles to go get water. I stood in the middle of a farm and people go, "Oh, this is a fantastic farm." And I was like, "This is a farm? It looks like an old beat up field from the school ground." Energy is a transformative resource. And there is absolutely no economy in the world that has a high standard of living and isn't a huge user of energy. So, as a result of that, Canada finds itself in the top 10 energy providers in the world for petroleum energy, and this is a big deal. And in fact, there's only 3 democratic nations in the world that actually show up in that top 10 list. United States on the top, Canada at number 4, and Brazil at number 10. Honestly, if I hadn't looked it up, I would not have put Brazil in the top 10. I was surprised at that. But the thing that's interesting is, I say that, what are the other countries there? Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq. Is it any wonder? And think about what's going on in the political world with the United States and how they're treating their trading partners around the world. Is it any wonder why people want our energy? The Europeans would die for the energy that we have. And the most distressing thing for them is the thought that we don't even want to provide it to them because we don't think they should be using it, even though we are a very large energy consumer for ourselves. This is a crazy world, and there is so much opportunity And we are very blessed to have the resources that we have. Now, for the first time in literally over a decade, we have a federal government in this country that's talking and promoting the resource sector of this country. People have started to connect the dots that without a strong resource sector, we don't have a strong economy, and we do not have a strong economy today. But the resource sector, honestly, from a financial perspective, it's as strong as I have ever seen in my career. And as Jason pointed out, I'm an old geezer. It's incredible the financial strength of this industry. And we are getting stronger and stronger. And I hope that we, as collectively as a country and as an industry, have the ambition to go and chase after this enormous opportunity that we have to provide our resources to the world. Because people would love to deal with Canada. And I was very encouraged, and you know, it's very easy to slip into a political debate here, but I was very encouraged to see Don Farrell being announced to head up the Major Projects Office for our country that's going to be located here in Calgary. And I think that it's not just symbolic, but it's real, because Western Canada and the resource sector are massive deployers of capital. And I hope that both politically, and I mean that federally, provincially, and the ambition within our industry, that we will capture this opportunity, because it's the best one we've had in a long time. And that is the opportunity for us. But there's three things that have led to this success. One is that we have this resource. Like, this wasn't anything we did. It wasn't because we went and got an education that we had this resource. We found this resource. It's literally, some of this resource has been documented all the way back to the late 1800s. You know, the voyageurs were canoeing down the Athabasca River, and they said this was the most beautiful river in the world because it was the colors of the rainbow. They didn't realize it was oil floating on the top of the water. We now know, oh, that's not a good thing. But this is the thing, we've been blessed with a huge resource. And then we've had the entrepreneurial spirit. We've been inventors, we've been pioneers. We've come up with technology. We've developed projects that were almost unimaginable. I was actually amazed in my research when I found out that the first offshore well in Canada was drilled in the 40s, 1940s. Because we had given up that there was conventional resource, but we kind of know the story. Maybe I'm too old and maybe you're too young, I don't know, but 1947, Imperial hits Painter. They drilled all sorts of wells, and this is their last ditch effort. They hit Leduc, our conventional industry is born. It's unbelievable. We built pipelines across the country, and it's a transformative technology, not only to our region, but to our entire country. It drives massive economic outcome. And it's because of innovation. And don't think that technology on the resource side didn't have an impact. In the year 2000, we did not have a single commercial SAGD operation in our entire country. Today, it's 1.8 million barrels a day. It is a huge part of our industry, and it will be literally for decades to come. We have made huge progress, not just from being blessed, but by doing something about it. Inventing technologies. We've seen it in autonomy. We've seen it in shale development. We've seen it in CO2 capture. All across the industry, we've seen that. But there's another factor that's been huge, from my perspective, on allowing us to be competitive, drive jobs, and drive economic outcomes. And that's been digital technologies. And whether that's autonomous trucks, whether it's digital platforms, it's allowed us to be efficient. It's allowed us to deal with some of the challenges of the resource we've been blessed with. I worked in Louisiana offshore. I was working environmental health and safety for Exxon, lived in New Orleans, and they were telling me that in the winter they had freezing problems. I I was like, shut up, like what are you talking about? Freezing problems in Louisiana? This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, I have my garden hose going in February. So I was like, I just literally have to go see this. This is unbelievable. I go down, I go into the bayou, there's really no coastline in Louisiana. It's kind of like a transition of ocean and shore and grass in between and the water. And some of the islands, they literally map them every year because they keep moving just from the storms. It's a very soft shoreline, if you say. And here, the winterization program was a facility, and they said, well, this is how we manage winterization, and they had a tarp up to keep the wind from blowing across the pipe. I was like, you call this winterization? This has been solved in very extreme conditions. This is one of the challenges. We work in a harsh environment. A lot of the resource on the oil side is very challenging. It's heavy, it's disproportionately laden with carbon, and less so on hydrogen. But we've made it work. We've made it work by innovation. We've made it work by driving down our costs, by being efficient and applying technology to drive the performance of the industry. And now the country and this region are starting to get quite a reputation on successfully developing technology and innovation. We've seen it in Shopify. We've seen it in OpenText. We've seen it in Celestica, I guess I should say, because it's the top performing stock on the TSX this year. Technology companies are really getting traction in this country. And it's a good thing. It's a great thing. And it's interesting because my observation, somebody asked me about the future of our city and our province, and I think our opportunity and our future is very bright. One of the reasons I think it's bright is because as we're seeing this constant shifting of driving efficiencies, growing production, all this sort of thing, we're seeing people redeploy out of oil and gas into technology and drive technology solutions that will change the globe and change the way we do business. The thing that I think is really exciting about this, and I was really encouraged as I've learned more and more about AbaData, is that today you get to spend time with the next generation of technology leadership in our country as we think about not just a technology, but a platform. I've loved their ambition of not just having this do a function, but to start integrating across a platform to be able to drive continued improvement and efficiency. And Jason just said it. He was like, people literally are using spreadsheets and paper and such to be able to manage our business. This is not how we win. We win by being ambitious. We win by leveraging technology, not being afraid of it. And one of the things I would observe is one of the differences. I've spent a lot of time in the US. In fact, I literally just got back at midnight on Saturday from coming from the X Prize Visioneering Conference. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the X Prize. X Prize runs global competitions. And basically the objective of it is to create global competitions that will literally create an inflection point in the globe and make the future brighter than what it is today. The most famous and probably the clearest one that a lot of people don't even recognize is the X Prize ran, the first prize they ever did was for commercial space travel. And the outcome of that was SpaceX, Virgin Galactic. It created commercial space travel. Now they haven't all worked. They actually had a prize where they wanted people to land on the moon and be able to return after a short period of time, and they had to go and do some functions on the moon. They didn't realize that the prize, was a 5% of the cost of actually getting to the moon. Somebody actually tried it, they crashed their rocket on the moon, kind of like, okay, this didn't really go that well. They launched another prize one time where it was a 7-year prize, and within 2 years, 2 of the teams had actually accomplished what the prize was set to accomplish. But those are really the exceptions. They have an amazing track history, and I was super excited to see. Jason told you I'm on the board of General Fusion. This weekend, not only did we have the debate as to whether the Fusion Prize should be structured and funded, but we were able to raise $500,000 to design the prize and get ready to launch, which will probably happen sometime next year. And I was super excited about that because not only do I think fusion can be a huge transformative technology for energy and climate in the world, but I actually want Canada to win that. And the company that I'm on the board of is General Fusion and such. So today I would encourage you, especially coming out of this weekend, these are big thinkers. They're thinking about how to transform the world. I would encourage you to think about your ambition. Russell Lakoff would always say, you should always start with the end state and work your way back, not where you are today and what's the step forward. Because his view is that if you start where you are today and you just take this little step forward, often you find out 5 steps from now, you've gone in the wrong direction. And I think the opportunity you have for you here today is to stand in the realm of the possible. You know where you're at. You know how it works. You know what you do. But today's the opportunity to see this technology set and imagine the possible for your organization. And the way you would think of those opportunities, I would really encourage you to think about, but what if I could go 5 times faster? What if we could transform? What if we could step into the future and instead of evolving there, transform? And I think that's the opportunity that AbaData provides us and the opportunity for today. So thank you so much, and I guess we're gonna take a few questions. If I haven't consumed 100% of the time. Okay. So just put up your hand if you have any questions. There we are.
Got a question right here.
I like what you said about end state and how everything is going to plan ahead and then work your way back. What do you think the opportunity is within the energy industry and within the field? You know, with your vast experience, you saw some gaps there. Where do you think are some of the quick wins that we could think of the end state and then work with AbaData to get there?
Yeah, I mean, just to give you some context, I think this is a bit political. The way the political system, you know, we have a hard time getting on the same page in our country. Unfortunately, politics has an eye in it, and unfortunately, a lot of politicians seem to get stuck on the eye. And so we have a hard time getting on the same page. So every time somebody stands up, they're like, hey, we could go do this. Somebody else is like, no, I'm going to veto it. I'm going to stand in the way. I'm going to disrupt it. I think this is crazy. One of the things, we need strong leadership in our country to be able to do that. But let me just give you kind of 50,000 feet to give you some context to your question. Yeah, we have a massive, massive resource base. It significantly is larger than the United States. We produce about 6 million barrels a day. I'm missing some of my natural gas oil equivalent in that. The United States has a much poorer resource base. I think they don't have the same culture. And they're producing 20 million barrels a day. They're 4x the size of Canada. And honestly, it wasn't that long ago where they were below 10 million barrels a day. They've learned to act, and the problem with ours, one of the challenges we have, and I think this is a healthy debate for our country, is that the whole regulatory process is to determine one thing. It's to determine, is this in the best interest of our country? That's what it's about. And what they do is we look at the pros and the opportunity associated with the project and the contribution it makes to employment, income, taxation, projects, all these types of things. And then we look at the cons, emissions, disruption, all these types of things. And unfortunately, we get so focused on the cons that we try and figure out how to mitigate it to zero. And as a result of that, we often never get the pros. This project could be 4x the benefits to the implications associated with it. And I'm not saying we don't need to focus on the challenges associated with it and mitigate it. We get paralyzed by it. This regulatory process for a pipeline to go into a lot of existing corridors is the same as cutting down virgin turf in sensitive areas. This is crazy. We need to find a way to, and I'm very sensitive to the indigenous communities, but what are they looking for? They're looking for prosperity. They want engagement. We need to find a better way to engage together to move forward quicker. And I think that's the opportunity we have, and I'm super hopeful that, I don't think we're gonna get to 20 million barrels a day any day soon, but we should be hopefully finding a way to increase our production, 25 to 50% in the next decade. That would be transformative for our country. Pretty quiet group. Everybody must have stayed up and watched the Jays last night. It's if anybody didn't put up your hand, and then your neighbor will know they could whack you every once in a while when you fall asleep. That's it, no questions? This is the easiest group I've ever talked to.
Mark, I have a question.
Oh.
If you were starting a new energy technology company today, where would you focus your efforts?
That's a tough one because I actually did just start a technology company in energy. Part of the thing, so maybe I'll just talk very briefly about Johnson because it's kind of at the other end of the spectrum. One of the things that's amazed me, and I've literally been around the globe, I've represented the industry on pathways or the industry on production, whatever it is, globally. And I've talked to politicians of all stripes across this entire country. And the thing that always amazed me is that politicians literally have no idea how to manage energy and climate and money and stuff in their own home. And yet they're supremely confident that they can intervene into markets and sort out the country. No problem. That actually blew my mind. And I did a bit of research on it, and I think that it's less than half of 1% that actually understand their energy consumption, their emissions, and money associated with it. And so the point of Johnson was to engage the consumer and move them from administering energy, which means just keep sending checks and I get the money, or I get the energy that I need, to strategically managing it. And our belief is that if we can facilitate that change, the consumer will cut their energy consumption costs by 5 to 15%. These are early days. We have about 300 households and businesses on our app. It's all free which I have to deal with at some point. So one of the things we're doing is, so anybody in Alberta can download our app. If you're with ENMAX, EPCOR, or Direct Energy, you can actually link it to your account. It downloads all your bills. So some of it's a bit clunky, but we've made a lot of good progress. And for the first time, we actually just applied our technology to a multi-site organization. I would have said business, except it's an indigenous nation. And we're finding lots of really interesting opportunities. So that's the journey we're on. The JO in Johnson stands for Joule, a unit of energy. And the TSON is for Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes. This is energy meets facts and figures, because one of the things I've realized is there really are no full energy companies. There's upstream producers, there's refiners, there's retail marketers, there's propane companies, there's electric utilities, there's natural gas utilities. So often these organizations are communicating from their frame of reference point, and it's very confusing to the consumer, so it ends up sounding a lot like mumbo jumbo. Let me give you one very brief example. An electric utility in Canada actually has on their website to become more efficient and save the globe, use less electricity. I was like, you guys know the people beside you in the energy system are saying to become more efficient, save the globe, use more electricity. And I was like, how does the consumer absorb this and figure out, are these people, is somebody lying to me? How does this all fit? This is the journey we're on, and we're having fun doing it. Any other questions? Okay, well, have a fantastic day, everybody.
Microphones, you gotta love it, hey? Mark, thank you so much. What a great start to the day. We are now, it's 9:30, and we are about to move into our breakout sessions, and sorry, those start at 9:45. So you got some time, perhaps some coffee, hit the washrooms if you need, meet some fellow AbaData users. As I said, 9:45 is when those first sessions get going, and then in those breakout rooms, out the doors, to the right, to the left, A1, 2, and 3. Thanks again, and we will we'll take another break at 10:30, breakout session at 11. We'll see you for lunch.